Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is December the 16th, 2020, and today we're going to be taking a look at Revelation 13. Before we get started, I did want to correct something on Revelation 12. The 7 heads, I had gave the definition for heads when we did this, but if you recall, in Revelation 17, it told us that this beast, the heads were 7 mountains, and so what this stood for all of the Christian nations at the time that the harlot was upon the beast. So it's all of the Christian nations, and it has 10 horns, but since the harlot has been destroyed, it's still going to be a group of nations. It's just not it's not just heads. It's all of the nations. Okay, and then of course you still have the 10 horns, and the crowns are upon the heads. So the nations are heading themselves. Okay, so I think I said that when it came to the crowns, but I know that I gave the standard definition for heads and not the definition for mountains. Okay, I have another correction for war as well. It's not a correction, it's just additional information, but I'll give that to you as we go through Revelation 13. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon its horns 10 crowns, and upon its heads the name of blasphemy. Okay, the sands of the sea, the sand is many. We can look at sands of the sea. There was a couple of definitions for that, but I don't think there was that many actually. Let's just cancel that. And we'll look up sand. Here we go. Isaiah also crieth concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sands of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. Therefore sprang there even of one of him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky in multitude, and as the sands which is by the sea shore innumerable. Okay, there was even less just for sands, but that's okay. Sands just means it's an innumerable, and we know that the sea is wicked, is the wicked. So he stood upon the sands of the sea. He stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Same beast. Well, it's the same beast, but it's different in the sense. It's the same beast in the sense that of worship. It's still headed by the Christian. They're considered worshiping. They consider themselves to worship Yahweh, God, but in actuality, they're not, because it's mostly apostate. So it's an unclean Christian church. So it's the same thing, because we don't really need to know about the heathen. So it's the same beast, but a different name, basically. Because now here in Revelation 13, we know that beast, we know from Daniel 7 that that beast is the leopard. Okay? And upon his horn, well, here in Revelation 13, it's actually going to become the 4th beast of Daniel 7. So it starts off as the leopard, and then it becomes the 4th beast. Okay, so 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns. And now the crowns are upon the horns. Horns can be anything. Horns have access or control of an army. That's all it is. It can be people. It can be the Confederacy that they talk about in Isaiah. But it's just any power or person. It can be an individual person that has control of an army. and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Of course, the heads are going to be mountains or religions, so that tells you that they're blasphemous religions. Okay, so that's the beast. And the beast, of course, is a group of people, like-minded people. And the like-minded is the religion here in this case. And it'll tell you that later on in Revelation 13. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Now, we've looked up bear, and bear was referenced as a mother bear who was robbed of her cubs, so vicious. So feet symbolize authority. He has authority over, and he reigns viciously. Yeah. In his mouth, we know that the mouth is the words, but since this is not one individual, it doesn't really have a mouth. So the mouth has to be the laws, because that's how inanimate objects speak. So it's the mouth, the words are as that of a lion. And in prophecy, we know from Revelation 5 that a lion kills. So the laws are causing the death, either spiritual or literal death of the people. So since it's about religion, I would say it's, I really don't know if it's going to be both or not, because the feet are vicious. Okay, that's violent. So there is, it's a tyranny basically of rulership. So even though the Bible is about religion, and no doubt spiritual death is included as part of this, there may actually be literal death too. I'm just saying maybe. Especially when you consider, well, I'm just going to say maybe. In leopard, we didn't look that up. We can look it up now. Leopard lies in wait. I think I told you that when we did Daniel 7, but we didn't actually go over it. And we'll look at a couple of the definitions. Wherefore, a lion out of the forest shall slay them, and a wolf of the evening shall spoil them. A leopard shall watch over their cities. Everyone that goeth out thence, everyone that goeth out thence shall be torn in pieces, because their transgressions are many, and their backslidings are increased. So a leopard lies in wait. Therefore I will be unto them as a lion, as a leopard, by the way will I observe them. And of course we know that when we finished off Revelation 12, just a reminder, Revelation 12, just a reminder, is the birth of the church. The woman is, of course, Yahushua is the husband. So you have a woman that's going to give birth to a church. And Yahushua and Yahweh finally have it's called a firstborn child, or a man child here in Revelation 12, but it's the 144,000. It's the church. It's a perfect church in the sense that all of the hypocritical Christians were taken from it, and the people were made perfect. Those they were made perfect. Okay, so, but at the end, just to revive your memory, once Satan was cast out of heaven, he came down with wrath against the people of God. And he's going to try to get rid of the people. But because the people are still pretending to be spiritual, he's not able to get to the remaining church members. So then the last verse says, and the dragon was wroth with the woman. So he's still trying to get at the remnant. And he went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Now, of course, it's not just the church. Now, there's an identifier. And the identifier is said that they keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Well, we know Revelation continues itself. So Revelation 13 is a continuation. It's telling you about the war that the dragon has cast out against the woman. Not against the woman, but the remnant that keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So that takes us into Revelation 13. And this pretty much is his plan outlined for us. So he continues on. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Now let me tell you, if you are an Adventist, here's what Sister White, and I won't be able to tell you exactly. I don't look at Sister White very much. Not so much anymore. Usually when I have a problem or something, I'll go and look up something. But I do recall in one of her books, she was saying that in the time of the end, Satan is going to impersonate Christ. Well, we know this from Matthew 24. Matthew 24, it tells you don't go and see him, because even the elect can be deceived. Because basically when you see him, you are really going to have to, you're going to have to brace yourself to not believe your eyes in that what you see. You're going to have to brace yourself to be firmly rooted in the Word of God, because what you see is going to just blow your mind. So even the elect could be deceived. So it says just don't go see it. Don't tempt yourself. So we know that Satan is going to imitate Christ. And Sister White says that what he's going to do is he is going to authorize this Pope-like figure in Revelation 13. And he's going to say, yes, this is my, and these are my words, not hers. Okay, this is my guy, believe him. And that's why everyone's going to believe him, because Satan's running around and his demons are running around doing all these fake miracles. And so it's going to be it's a great deception. I can't remember what book of the Bible that's in. It's an overwhelming delusion. Is that the word that's used? I can't recall. Okay, so let's continue. But the beast, okay, the dragon gave him his power and seat and great authority. And the beast, of course, even though it's a group of like-minded individuals, the like-mindedness is going to be the authority that's given to this man known as 666, identified as 666 at the end of this book. Revelation 13:3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. Okay, that's no mystery to us. We've been studying the events of the 9th hour church. We know that one of the heads is a Christian nation, right? We know that one of the heads is going to be the United States, and that it's going to stand for the Christian nation. So in Revelation 17 and 18, we saw that head wounded by the destruction of the whore and the captivity of God's people. Revelation 17 and 18, and also the first and second trump, as well as the sixth trumpet. So all of that went down in those areas of the Bible. So this is no mystery to us. We were wounded to death. And it tells us that the Word of God is going to be taken away. It's going to be revived, as we learned in Revelation 9, Daniel 9, verses 24 through 27, where it says the streets and the wall is going to be built up. But so it's going to be revived, but it's thought to be dead. Okay, so I saw one of the heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, And they worship the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Okay, here's the other correction that I had. It's this word war. This word war is not... Hold on a second. I have a train, just a moment. Okay, the word war here, it's not an actual war as we know it today. It's more like a heated argument, like you might war with your neighbors or something like that. Let's see. To be engaged in warfare, that is to battle, literally or figuratively fight, make war. I didn't do a whole study about this or anything, but I did want to point it out to you. So here in Revelation 12, there was war in heaven, 4171. It's similar to the 4170 that we saw before. To bustle, warfare, literally or figuratively, a single encounter or a series, battle, fight, war. And then so the war in heaven, it was like it was just like a heated argument or similar to that. Oh, I should have selected it. Okay, let's go back. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. All right, here we are. I think it was 17. Seven. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought in his angels and prevailed not. Neither was there any place found for him. And then, and the dragon was wroth with the woman that went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Now the real war, I didn't want to show you that. That's what I was trying to think of. Let me change this. This charge I commend thee, son Timothy, according to the prophecies which went before on thee, that thou by them mightest war a good warfare. So here you have war. Even though it's a war for the body, it's still to serve in a military campaign, figuratively, to execute the apostolate with its arduous duties and functions, to contend with carnal inclinations. Soldier, go to warfare. Okay, so we're not going to make a study out of that. I just wanted to point it out. So let's get back to Revelation 13. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? So here we are finally at the worship part of even though we know from the previous chapter what's going on here. They're worshiping the dragon, because here the dragon has made itself manifest, impersonating Yahushua, which gave power unto the beast. And I've already gave you an example of that through Sister White. And they worship the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? and who is able to find cause against him. Basically, it's what they're saying. They're saying that he's perfect, is what I see. Do you see what? I hope that you can see that, but that's what I see there. Yeah, because I just explained to you, a war is not it's not arms or anything. If someone has sinned against you, then you have a cause against them. It doesn't have to be fisticuffs. So they're trying to say that he's perfect. Anyway, let's continue on. And there was given unto him. Oh, actually, yes, they are saying he's perfect, because we're going to actually go in Revelation 8 and we're going to take a look there at what's going on. And it's going to support that's what they're saying here. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Now, 42 months, I'm sure I've mentioned it before. I may have taken the video down though. But 42 means that they persecute the saints. That's what it means. Well, we can look at a couple examples. But again, we're not going to make a study out of it. We're just going to look at a couple of examples. Well, why are they not coming up? I don't know. I put months in there. That's why. 42. So, here's one. And among the cities which ye shall give unto the Levites, there shall be 6 cities of refuge, which ye shall appoint for the manslayer, that he may flee thither. To them ye shall add 42 cities. Okay, so this is where a man could flee, like a sanctuary cities, where the man could flee, and he could flee if he had killed someone, but it was an accident. It was not intentional. So he could flee there like they do it to the church on television, and be safe until, and he had to stay in that city though. He couldn't go back to Jerusalem until after the high priest died, and then he could return. But you see here how they broke it up into 6 plus 42, because they wanted to highlight the two numbers, because 42 is those who persecute the saints. Irregardless as to whether he did it intentionally or not, he killed a man of God. And so the 42 is associated with those cities. Okay, so let's continue on. This is a good one. This is Elijah. So, and he turned back and looked at them and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came 42 she-bears out of the wood, and tear 42 children of them. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the woods, and tear 42 children of them. Okay, so first of all, it doesn't say there were 42 children. These were a bunch of rowdy teenagers. Teenagers don't normally hang out in crowds of 42, but there was more than 42. But it only tore 42 so that they could put the number in there. Sister White tells us, and we don't need Sister White to tell us that because we can see that here, but Sister White tells us that this, if you are an Adventist, that they would have went on to persecute Elijah throughout his entire lot as a prophet of God. They would have continually tormented him had this not happened. So you can see that it's a miracle, because how can 2 she-bears tear 42 kids? They would have had to have just been, there's just, I mean, come on. They would have scattered as soon as one got attacked. And it didn't actually, it doesn't say it killed him or anything. It was just to turn them back from persecuting the prophet Elijah. Anyway, let's go back to where we were. Let's go back to Revelation. And there we are. Okay, so power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months. So, you know what? We're going to take a look at this 42. We're going to put it in a timeline, but we're at 25 minutes. So let's stop here. And when we come back, I think, yeah, when we come back, we'll just go straight into the timeline and take a look at it. All right, until I'll see you in the next video. Yahweh bless.